A nonprofit has launched a campaign to purchase a ski resort near Greenville. The mountain serves about 10,000 skiers and snowboarders right now.
With improvements, the nonprofit believes they could double or triple that number. Alyssa Thurlow and photojournalist Mark Redeker took a snowcat up Big Moose Mountain to learn more about the Save the View, Save the Mountain campaign.
There's no views like this anywhere.
Take a look at one of the loftiest summits in the Moosehead Lake region.
We're about 2,950 feet, 1,700 vertical above our base lodge.
This is the view from Upper Big Moose Mountain. This upper section has been closed to the public since 2004. Over the years, there have been developers interested in purchasing the ski property, but nothing has panned out. A local nonprofit is stepping in to help.
I mean, we've been leasing this property since 2013, and every step of the way, the community has been there.
Amy Lane is the executive director of Friends of the Mountain. She and the Friends have operated the ski resort for over a decade with the help of staff and volunteers. The nonprofit recently unveiled the Ski the View, Save the Mountain campaign to purchase the property. Phase 1 will take 12 to 18 months and will cost just shy of $6 million.
That would give us enough to purchase the 1,700 acres, including a 12-acre parcel down on Moosehead Lake.
Phase 2 includes opening the upper mountain and adding new ski lifts. That's projected to cost $13.5 million. The total price tag for improvements through 2030 will come to nearly $20 million. With the help of the Moosehead Lake Region Economic Development Corporation, they hope to preserve affordable recreational skiing for all generations.
That's what this campaign is all about, is maintaining community ownership for the property and investing to bring people back to the summit of Big Moose Mountain.
If we can open the upper mountain, increase the number of visitors and Maine residents that come to visit here, it would increase the overall activity, generally speaking, for the region.
Those who want to see this beloved mountain restored to her former glory say every penny goes a long way.
Please just help us save this view so others can experience this. We feel so privileged right now, and it shouldn't be a privilege. It should be something everybody can do.
If people can help, it'll be fabulous. Any little amount, any big amount.
Alyssa Thurlow, WABI News, Greenville Junction.
You can learn more about the campaign and make a donation now by heading to skitheview.org.